Would you believe it? We have gone live, and I do not believe it. We've actually finally got in there, so apologies for the delays, guys. As you can see, and as you could read, I did keep the chat stream up. You could see we were just waiting on a player. I've been here since 2 o'clock when we were due to go live, or 3 o'clock I should say, which is the UK time, 4 o'clock Central European time, and if you're in any other country, then I have no idea what time zone you're in. So let's go straight to the picks and bans. This is going to be Nocturne and Nautilus banned out for Curse, LeBlanc, and Twisted Fate for F2H, which stands for, if you bear with me, Fly Too High. So apologies if I do not know them by name. We have been waiting, ironically, for the runes to be set on the support player. Now, I was always under the impression that support players only had around about 2 to 3 rune pages at best, but what do I know? It seems they needed like 20 odd pages. Who was it we were waiting on? Was it Dirty Chin? I'm gonna see who it was. I think it was When You See. I'm going to check the rune pages anyway. But nevertheless, this is the European Challenger Circuit Poland qualifiers. This is the finals of the qualifiers. They had pre-qualifiers for this. They had EU West and Nordic East. Both had the qualifiers. They've all come into it. And as you can see by the brackets, if you've not seen them, they are available in the Reddit thread. If you've not seen the Reddit thread, then I could probably post the link in Twitch chat or something, I don't know. But anyway, it's Curse versus Fly Too High, MYR versus SK, and Moscow 5 versus Next Inwin, and Few versus CLG. They are the 8 matches that are happening right now. They're probably already gone underway. The players will be streaming their matches until I turn up and go, "Hi guys!" And Wicked's already said, obviously, I don't want to cast any CLG today because they're going to be boring to watch, so that CLG guys can cast it all. But you and I know if it's going to be CLG Moscow 5 next match, which is entirely possible and highly predictable, it will be a best of 3, and that will be epic. So, nevertheless, this is a best of 1 match, so we are going straight into this one. You can see the picks and bans now getting underway. It is me on my own, I'm afraid, today. I was after Jat, actually, but Jat was, it was kind of like lastminute.com that I asked him, because I was kind of asked late, and it was sprung it on him, and I said, you know, it'd be about 7 AM for you. Do you really fancy casting with me at that time? It would have meant he'd have to gone into the Riot offices on a Sunday morning at 7 AM just to stream with you guys, and he said, kind of a little bit too late. So, unfortunately, Joe Miller also is doing Counter-Strike Global Offensive today, so CSGO. I think he's got over 2,000 teams signed up to this tournament. It is the first tournament that ESL are hosting, which is why you are here on my humble little QV Deman channel instead of on the ESL studio and with Joe Miller sat there with apparently a shaven head now. I've not seen him. I'll have to check it out and see whether he's really shaved his head from the last match, but last time I saw him in DreamHack. So the bans, as you can see on your screen, Nocturne, Nautilus and Shen for Curse, and LeBlanc, Twisted Fate and Ergot for F2H. I Fly Too High. I don't know what I'm going to call them quickly, but nevertheless, Karthus being picked up by, it will be Extinct actually on Karthus in the middle there. You can see Maluno taking Taric for Zinnek there, and Slepper taking Tristana. So the blue team will be Curse, which is a big advantage. I'll get into that at a later date when we're a bit short on time, or long on time I should say. But Alistair being picked up to go roaming in the jungle, which is exciting because he's one of my favourite junglers. I love Alistair in the jungle. He can pull off some absolutely outstanding ganks. It should be great to see. And as you can see, actually, my voice has kind of returned. It's not 100% how it's going to be after a few games. I may well have to pull another caster in here to join me, because chances are it probably will start crapping out on me at some point. Anyway, Anivia is going to be in the mid versus Karthus, which could be a good lineup. That's immediately, it goes straight back to the Moscow 5 CLG group game, doesn't it? We had Froggen on Anivia. We had Alexic on Karthus. What an epic match that really was. Are we actually going to see Darius? No, we're not. That's just silly, Extinct. I'm not going with that one. We do have Janna and Corky, though, in that bottom lane. So it's a strong bottom lane to go against the blue push that you can do. And it's been interesting lately, as the game has developed, the meta's developed, that teams have basically become fairly even, on an even keel, I guess you could say, that the map benefits has started to shine through, and the teams are really been starting to talk about the massive advantage you get as the blue side. Now, if you would say to do a 5v5 queue, you get completely random. You wouldn't know. It's just purely like a random number generator in the background that sorts it out. At a tournament, at an event, it's a flip of a coin, which again, I guess is a random number generator. Is a, you simply flip it a coin. And it actually got to the point when I did a coin flip for Curse and Fnatic, flipped the coin up and only caught it because I was doing it in one hand, and I didn't put it onto the back of my palm, which back of my hand, sorry. And they were like, "Well, it is heads there, but you should have flipped it to go there, and it should be tails." And immediately, these teams are like, "This is such a big point for these guys." It's actually started to drive the picks and bans. So the picks and bans have been determined by what side they're going. And it was interesting, I was chatting to Crepo during the Moscow 5 versus Curse game. Was it? Yeah, Moscow 5 versus Curse, the semi-finals at DreamHack. And he was saying, they've gone for this new cogball lane. It's like, that would only work on the blue side. You could not physically do that on the purple side because you get the advantage, you can push them up, and you can just use that push strat to zone them out on that bottom at level 2. As soon as you hit level 2 that a little bit earlier, you're doing that a little bit more, and you can just push them out. It's very interesting to see how in-depth that it's starting to get now that the teams have just started to level themselves out. The advantages are not so much in the heroes, although that helps. There is a big advantage for that, but it's more about the side now. There's such a big thing, and it's going to be interesting to see how Riot are going to develop that one. Nevertheless, you can see the teams have managed to pick themselves out. Tarek, get his name right in a minute. Malphite has been picked for the jungle, and Aurelia in the top lane. So it's going to be Aurelia versus Kennen in the top lane, which is I'm never going to get their name right off the top of my head. FlytoHIGH, that's the one. FlytoHIGH. For some reason, I'm thinking Free2 something. I don't know why. FlytoHIGH is the team. Room Pages, very good question. Let's have a look at Room Pages. Who was the support player then? So it was Johnny. Johnny was the one that I think that held it all up. Although I believe Johnny was already there. It can't have been Johnny. Johnny's room pages. Johnny has got 10 room pages, which is pretty impressive. Are they all filled? They are. Look at that. 10 room pages filled with... Oh, he didn't. He only did 6 of them. Oh, no, he has got a few more. This guy is a support. What supports was he planning on playing? Is there actually 10 supports? Is there even 10 supports that you can pick? I'm not sure. But, of course, we are on the tournament client today, so there is not a great big 3-minute gap. So I will switch across the game, and we're going to go live into the match. So what are your bets? I'm going to be guessing Curse are the huge favourites coming into this one. CurseEV coming back from DreamHack. They managed to get 3rd place at DreamHack. Not a bad result for them, beating Fnatic in the 3rd, 4th place playoff. They did go 2-0 down to Moscow 5 in the semi-finals. They were not happy with the performance in that. They should have won the first game. They knew they threw it. It was a big throw as well. It wasn't as big as Moscow 5's throw against CLG, but it was a pretty big throw. They had the advantage, and they'd pushed the towers and they pushed the bottom lane along. If anyone can remember the semi-finals, it was the first game in the semi-finals. They'd really pushed heavily on the bottom lane, and they'd driven the team quite far back and done about half health to the inhib turret, and they didn't follow up on it. I don't know why. They just didn't follow up on it. And the players themselves, I managed to speak to them during the Fnatic game, not during it, after it. The game sound seems really loud for me. I don't know whether it's you guys. Please tell me if the game sounds too loud. It does feel quite loud for me. I can hear Corky's little...
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
No, it doesn't seem loud compared to my voice, so maybe you guys will have to tell me whether that banters out. We are on the tournament client, so unfortunately I've not been able to balance my sounds out, so we will see probably a few things that maybe are not so hot. I'm going to be taking control of the camera as well, so we're going to go straight into manual mode. And unfortunately, that may mean I miss things, but it is a bit loud. I thought it was a bit loud as well. Let's go directed. It's just while they sort that out. Let's not...
30 seconds until minions spawn.
See, that was loud to me. Let's go back to directed. Ooh, Angus is just going to get out of the way from that one. So the ward's going down over on the Wraith placement. And FlytoHIGH, with effectively their moment of glory here, could well win themselves a chance to break through the Nordic East. I'm a big fan of the Nordic East. I mean, a lot of people yet say, okay, you know, it's not as high skilled as EUS because EUS does have all the big names on it, but Nordic East can be so entertaining to watch sometimes. They're so aggressive half the time. I know what these guys are going to be like. I've not seen these in any Go for Lols, so I don't know how aggressive they could be in comparison to, say, MYM or something like that. But you know what? It's good to see these new teams, and it's always good. You like fresh blood coming into the scene. It will get boring if you see the same teams all the time. Trust me. And it's also interesting to know how the streams are going, how people are watching these streams. You know, a lot more people are starting to watch, say, Afromu and such. Whereas in the old days, it would be Hotshot or anyone else. You know, that would be all they'd watch. But nowadays, there's a lot more versatility on the streams, and honestly, those top players are also noticing their numbers drop because other players are starting to steal away their viewers. So Curse, one of those teams that are coming through. Maluno, I know, does stream. So Maluno going round in the jungle. He certainly streams. He's going to catch a glimpse of Dirtjun coming around the backside of Extinct there. Can he manage to get round? No, he completely messed up his combo there. Actually, Extinct flashed, expected the combo, and Dirtjun just pulverized the crowd and just went blah. And it kind of drew him completely away. Is he going to come back for another combo? Blowing the flash has just been blown. He will have his cooldown back up. He does get the headbutt pulverized this time, but unfortunately Anivia was not ready for it. That's Karlik on Anivia. In fact, I'll go through the teams. It's a little bit rude. I haven't give you a rundown of the teams. There's a ping just gone down on the red buff. It doesn't look like anyone's going to go there for Fly Too High. So it is top lane. It still actually seems loud for me. I'm just going to tweak it down a little bit more because that's kind of blowing my eardrums out. It is going to be Anguish versus When You See It in the top lane. When You See It actually getting dived on there by Irelia. And Anguish takes a little stun up in the back there, and they're both using their health pots to cut themselves out. So Irelia Kennen, that is Anguish versus When You See It. Meanwhile, in the middle, it is Extinct versus Karlik. Karlik on Anivia, made famous, I guess, lately by Frog. And Extinct looked like he's going to back off and go for Wolves here. That's because Maluna is down the bottom here. Maluno, I should say. Maluno. No. His name's been butcherized by the Americans of late. Keeping my eye on Alistair, actually, in this top lane, which is Dirtjun. Dirtjun QQ, I should say. Saying his video's freezing. I hope that's not the stream. I am not dropped any frames, so I don't think it's my end. Hopefully everything's fine. It may just be your end. I don't know what I'm streaming in. We're at the 720 or 1080. I didn't even look at that. You should have the options. Anyway, it doesn't look like Alistair's going to do a great deal up the top there. So let's go down the bottom. It is Zinnek and Slepper versus Necromad and Johnny down the bottom here. That is Necromad on Corki, Johnny on Janna, and Zinnek on Tarek with Slepper on Fire Woman Tristana, or Fire Person, I guess is the politically correct name for it. So, as it is, the slight advantage in gold heading towards Curse. It is only a slight advantage though. Lane phase very early on. Top lane, not a great deal between the two. Angus just farming up there, making sure he picks everything up. He's built himself around about 8 CS lead. You can see Extinct actually taking on the Wolves again here. Second time he's done that in the last few minutes, so already starting to steal those away, which meantime Maluno's going around. I had a good conversation with these guys about this actually at the Twitch party, and I know it kind of shows favoritism, but I just met these guys last weekend, so it was the first time I met them, but it was interesting talking to Maluno about the jungle routes, and he was like, you know, you go down, bottom lane scream at you saying, it was your typical jungle conversation, and with your conversation with the jungle, it's like, bottom lane screaming for help. I'm up the top, I come all the way down the bottom lane, shove the lane. And speaking of shoving the lane, I can see down the bottom, it is going to be first blood, and it is Slepper that goes down. Meanwhile, at the top, I'm going to go for a replay on that one. This is going to be hard to catch. Okay, so there we go, last 15 seconds, you can see it was actually Slepper that dived in on towards Necro. Unfortunately for him, Dirtgem was coming round, gets a headbutt pulverized straight on him. Meanwhile, you can see at the top here, it's a simple straight one-on-one for Angus that just takes him down in the mid. Let's speed things up, get back to where we were. There we are, back into live mode. You can see Maluna now coming back around. He's going to see Dirtgen come around, does manage to smite out the large wraith and gets pulverized away. Headbutt pulverized. Didn't even go for the pulverized, actually just went for the headbutt. Kind of messed up the combo maybe. I don't know. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, Maluna, he was saying, you know, you go up the top and the mid Extinct will say, I'm going to take your wolves. Says you go down the bottom, Extinct says, I'm going to take your raids. He goes back down the bottom again, and then Aurelia says, I'm going to take your wolves. It's just like, and it says he gets to the point, it's like, guys, I need to level a little bit. I just need to level a little bit. But yeah, he was having a good complaint. It was good to see. So, you know, all those Reddit threads or EU forums threads or NA threads, whichever you read about the junglers, it's all true. It's even true in the highest level of gaming. They all still have the same problems. So you guys down at 1200, maybe even 600 elo, you have the exact same problems as the guys at 2500. Don't worry, it's just a jungle thing. Everybody steals away from you. So, as the game progresses, 1-1 all square. The gold advantage still only 400 gold, slightly to Curse, so not the greatest advantage early on in the first 7 minutes of this matchup. Still no ward placement for Johnny, I was just about to say, as he places it by the dragon. Not exactly cleanly placed, I've got to be honest. It's not giving him the greatest vision. You can see Curse's vision, they have nothing at the top yet. You can see Aurelia is going up there, probably about to place a ward. No, he doesn't have a ward with him actually. Just feeling very confident. Johnny hasn't got a great view of it. You can't see the dragon there. Has got a bit of a clean vision of the river, but can't see the actual dragon. You would be able to catch a glimpse of someone heading into that position though, and now they have got the vision. So if we go back to it now, they can see a clean run of the river, so they'll be able to spot that dragon no problem. So Maluna again goes up, smites that top wraith and steals it away. Let's have a look at the builds. How are builds working out? GP 10 item for Anguish on the top there, along with those Mercury Treads, so doesn't want to get stunned up too heavily by Kennen. Kennen, meanwhile, has gone for a Doran's Blade, so potentially going towards a more attack damage staged, and here we see Anguish going straight towards the golems at the top, so stealing away the enemy jungle here. Bearing in mind, Maluna's already taken away the wraiths down the bottom, has got it warded up. Anguish taking away the golems at the top, but we can see that Dirtgen is camping this bottom lane. They want to get on towards Slepper again if they're possible. Necro is forcing him away. Necromad just forcing him away a little bit, but Slepper will quite happily farm up there, using that passive, that explosive shot towards the minions. He's up to 2. Guessing he's leveling up. Let's have a look. He's leveled up Rocket Jump and gone a little bit in Rapid Fire. Meanwhile, Zinek's obviously leveling up. Actually, he's gone towards Shatter. He's only put 1 into Imbue. He's put 3 into Shatter. So Zinek actually planning on being pretty aggressive in this bottom lane. Should he get the stuns down, he wants to do that bit of burst damage with that Shatter, as well as the passive that it gives. Meanwhile, Phosphorus Bombs leveled up by Corki, as you'd expect. And Janna, of course, leveling up the shield to help out with the attack damage on Necro, as well as defending Malilla here. We've got Maluno sneaking in towards this top jungle here. Oh, and he's just showed himself far too early there. Anguish couldn't dash onto him. Tried to use the double dash, so he dashed on, let's just go get the exact name of it, the Blade Surge. Dash on towards the minion, get the refresh, and dive straight on towards when you see it there as Kennen. Didn't work out so well for him though. Now we have Maluno coming around the top side, checking out that red. Doesn't realise that Dirtgen is just above him. If he uses... Oh, he's caught a glimpse of him. Here we go. Anivia's actually coming up. They know he's here. They're going to catch him. Surely. No, Maluna using his ulti to get away there. In towards the Baron Pit, and Maluna escapes unscathed. And Karlik will come back around and take those wraiths away. So, ulti used by the jungler there. Already. Shield been used. Trying to get that burst damage on towards Slepper. Just help out in that straight basic attack, that advantage. Oh, and he's going to get the stun down. Can he get the shatter? Yes, he will. The ulti pop by Zinnik there, but unfortunately Slepper was not on the same wavelength. Wasn't anywhere close there. And that ulti just going to run its course. Meanwhile, at the top, Anguish is just going to pick up all the CS. Now he comes around, has to use his flash to get away from whenever you see it. That's really absolutely screwing me up. When you see it, not whenever you see it. Let's just make the names up for them. Why not? I was making English phrases up throughout DreamHack, so it's entirely possible that I could make words up as we go along. So as it stands, I'd say Dirtgen's been the more successful as the ganker, but Maluna, as you can see, has been taking away a lot of the enemy jungle. And the captain making the calls for Curse, Maluno. Interested to hear that CLG don't really have an in-game captain. It's simply a case of someone making the call. Slepper could get caught out here. He's on his own. He doesn't have Zinnek with him at the moment. Zinnek just going up to place a ward on Dragon. There is the ward going down. Karlik was flagged up there. They knew exactly where he was going. And you can see Dirtgen again holding out, waiting to try and get that gank on mid. It's been a pretty slow game so far. 11 minutes gone, only the 1-1. There has been a few gank attempts, and we're seeing one right now. Dirtgen is not going to be able to make it on Extinct. The Extinct playing far too cautiously for him to get caught out. Dodges just out of the way, gets the double up damage there on towards Karlik, but manages to get the Wall of Pain down himself and do a fair amount of damage on towards Anivia. Anivia, of course, has that rebirth available, so no problems there. Necromantic's doing a good job down this bottom lane. 98 CS for Slepper compared to the 95 for the Necro, so certainly keeping himself quite in it against the Curse team. Meanwhile, Dirtgen again lingering around. this middle lane. Maluno is just above as well. He goes in, takes down that large wraith. They know he's there. They've gone straight across the ward. They spot him. Does get the headbutt pulverized. Will he get the stun down? Yes, he will. Uses his ulti to get away from it. Very nicely timed there, and flashes away. Meanwhile, let's have a replay because the top lane had a fight as well. And again, it's Angush on half health, actually taken down when you see it. So that fight going on down the bottom there. There's the ulti to try and regain something. When you see he uses his ulti, Angush actually gets it, gets the stun, the ignite running, and that was the closest it could possibly get for Angush there on 40 hit points. He manages to survive that. Very, very close engagement for him there. But he does come out on top. Means he picks up the phage and the pings go down. We're back into live now. And he gets himself the start of a Zeal as well, heading towards that attack speed. Get that Trinity Force completed. Interestingly, he has gone towards that rather than the Sheen. Doesn't want to get that burst damage. Feels he wants the attack speed to go to begin with. Slepper now bought a BF sword as well, 109 CS. Meanwhile, you can see the teleports back from FlytoHIGH on that bottom lane. Go back and buy themselves up a phage, so it looks like it's going to be a Trinity Force for that. Tons of damage for Necro. Maddox, Extinct meanwhile taking away those wraiths. Dirtjan doing a great job of the jungling and, you know, catching people out, but unfortunately he's 2 levels behind Maluna now. He's only level 6 still, Dirtjan. He's going to start having problems if he falls this too far behind. Karlik trying to take away the wraiths, which are not there, and, you know, Maluna on level 8, only just level 8 I should add, and I think he's about to hit level 7 as soon as he takes those wolves away. Here we go. When you see it, we could see a tower dive, and you could see it. That's terrible. Oh, they're going to catch him out. He's going to go towards golems, and Angus is right there in the bush ready and waiting. When you see he gets stunned up, now he's down to half health, and Maluna's going to quite happily come in and tank this turret up. Now they're going to dive straight on him, no problems at all there. When you see he gets taken down by Angus, very easy engage there, and honestly, when you see he just walked straight into that one, face checking that bush, you know, he should have realized that Angus was not there. He surely would have suspected that he'd have been down there. Slepper in trouble down the bottom here. He's got to be careful. Dirtjan's going to come down. Johnny actually ultied back there. Slepper does get taken down. He's going to dive towards Slepper. Slepper uses his rocket jump, which has just reset. Manages to get away and just about out of the armor penetration range. Are they going to dive? Dirtjan will dive. Dirtjan puts the ignite down. Slepper though, actually, sorry, Slepper put the ignite down. Dirtjan's surely going to go down to turret damage. No, he's just about surviving. That ulti will run off in a second. Zinnek there. Oh, and he used the shatter when the ulti had just about run out. Pinging it like crazy. They want Karthus to use that ulti. Remember, Karthus' global ulti will catch him anywhere. Why are you not using the ulti? Has he not got it available? No, he has not. He's used it already on that engage. I missed it down the bottom there. Dirtjan will go down to the turret. I have no idea why Dirtjan just passed that turret again. It just basically gave Zinnek the free damage. And Corki, well, Corki is just about surviving out of that one. So, pretty crazy exchange. Curse coming out on top. Meanwhile, the red buff's being stolen away by Curse there. I missed anything that may have happened in the middle. I don't think I did miss anything particular. No, the rebirth is still up, so there wasn't a great deal. Extinct did use the ulti. I didn't see where the damage was. I think it was for the combined fight down the bottom, because Johnny and Corki, Necromatics, were both very low down the bottom when I joined that fight. So I'm guessing that's where the ulti would have been used up already. Blimey. So, things are starting to liven up here. 15 minutes gone. Top turret's taken down while that was all happening as well. FlytoHIGH are starting to slip out of this match. They need to be careful. But honestly, after the weekend we've just had at DreamHack, I am never going to write a team off. Until I see the whites of their eyes and the Nexus turret is dropping, you do not write a team off. CLG have proven beyond doubt that it is possible to come back from pretty much anything. Let's take a sip. Apologies, I do need to try and nurse his voice as much as possible. So, Extinct's back in this middle lane, quite happily wiping out those waves. It's going to back off. Boots and ability were bought by Dirtjan earlier on. I didn't point that out. That's why he's been so mobile for these ganks. Angus with that red buff, they did steal away from FlytoHIGH's old jungle. He's going to come around the backside of him. He's got 2 level advantage over Corki. Puts the ward down in the bush there, so he couldn't get away from it. Puts the ignite down, surely going to go down. Ignite was used up there, but Angus manages to finish that one off so simply. And really, no question there. Now he's going to have Karlik coming round, dodges the first ice ball. I think Karlik more a preventative measure than anything, using that ulti. And there comes down the bottom there, going to get a ping down the bottom there. It will surely, the ulti comes out from Karthus. Johnny just about surviving there. Surely going to get dived on by Maluna. Just needs to do one more hit, but Maluna goes down. Necromatics takes him down. Very nicely played there. Johnny surviving so well on 100 hit points. And Slepper, and they just didn't follow up. They did not follow up. They let Maluna alive. Now Dirgeon's going to come round on towards the backside. Gets the headbutt. Goes for the pulverize on Slepper. Meanwhile, you can see Corky's been stunned up actually. Zinek doing a lot of damage on towards Necromatics there. Zinek will get the kill. Turns around on towards Dirgen. Ignite down on towards Dirgen. Ulti running on Dirgen. Going to have to survive this one. Trying to run to his turret. The stun will go down. The dazzle once again. Can Slepper finish him off? Has he got enough to get through that ulti? The ulti's just run out. And he does escape with 60 hit points. Panky, calling Panky. You're going to be needed for this next cast, son. Because my voice is already starting to feel the effects. When you see it though, getting dived on the Angus here. And surely, can he tower dive me? Hasn't got the ignite this time round, but there's no ulti from when you see it either. Has got stunned up very nicely. Wengus might go down to one more tower hit. Yes, he will. And that will be a kill for Kennen. Very nice there when you see it being finished off by Angus, but getting the return kill on the turret. Nice use of ignite and good use of the stun as well. Very nicely played there. 8-4 currently for Curse. And now an Oracle on Maluna, who does return to this bottom lane. Infinity Edge completed by Slepper as well. Should point that out. Trinity Force now well underway by Corky, but has fell a little bit behind. CS in the middle, very balanced. CS in the bottom, very balanced. But that top lane is a whole different story, isn't it? 5-1-0 against 1-5-0. It has been Angus dominating the hell out of him. Dazzle goes down on towards Johnny there. There goes the Shatter on towards Johnny. They're going to dive towards him, but Johnny flashes away. They turn around, put the ulti on towards Corky. Corky going to go down to basic attacks. There's critical hits coming out. Slepper blown sideways by the Monsoon, but that's going to be the final hit. Zinek steals it from the Karthus ulti. They knew the kill was coming in there. There was no need for that, Zinek. No need at all. But he manages to steal it anyway. And Karthus actually, ironically, has not picked up a single assist yet. So he's used his ulti a number of times and not got a single kill or assist. Meanwhile, oh wow, Angus is getting another kill on When You See It. 6 kills on When You See It now. Just that one was that one on the turret as well. Needed the turret help. Maluna though with the Oracle. Getting dived on here. He's picked up the blue there. And Mandurchan's going to try and hop away from this one. That ulti is not going to be able to save him. You can see that Extinct finally coming around. Will pick up the kill. And at last, Extinct gets in on the action. Quite happy to farm passively against that. And Nivea in the middle lane here. And this is surely on 19 minutes, just shy of 20 minutes. They're going for the dragon. That's a very delayed dragon. This is just the best of one, by the way. The next match almost certainly will be Moscow 5 versus CLG. And that will be a best of 3. And I know you guys want to see that. I want to see that. I'm excited for that game, so I know you guys are going to be excited for that game. That'll be coming up shortly. Bizinek is getting dived on here. Does manage to get the stun down on towards Necromatics there. Slepper coming back round. Going to do a bit of damage on towards him. Remember, he has got the ignite. Zinek actually caught out with the ignite running, but I think he's going to be able to imbue. Imbue's not up for 10 seconds. He will survive that one, though. And Slepper just destroying faces as Maluna comes round. Johnny's in all sorts of trouble. That Infinity Edge, he's just going to surely jump across. No, he's going to flash instead. Oh, Maluna steals the kill regardless. But Slepper, now with that inf-edge, you cannot stand and bang with an inf-edge if he's just basically attacking you. You're going for the other guy. You can't just ignore that Infinity Edge AD carry that's shooting you in the face. It will be critting. And you can see 530 on here. I think he was doing like 250 plus on the heroes. So wow, absolute wrecking machine. 14-4. Curse, very much a one-sided match so far. FlytoHIGH have got their work cut out here to try and drag themselves screaming and kicking back into this match. Dirgen still only level 8. Maluna level 10. Meanwhile, we've got level 15 in the middle. That shows how far behind. There you go. Dirgen nearly half the level of Extinct right now. That is a long way behind. And the farming going on. Rabadon's death cap now completed by Extinct as well as that Rod of Ages. Top lane, Trinity Force for Anguish on Aurelia. Meanwhile, just look at Kennen. He is struggling, I'm afraid to say. Sorcerer's Boots. And look at this, Anguish so confident. He was quite happy to just dive that one. Just farms it up with his ulti instead. picks up all of that. You know, Dirtjan's hanging around here, but honestly, I would not want to mess with Angus right now. He's level 9 versus level 15. He's 6 levels above you. I don't even think your ulti might save you here. Dirtjan does try to headbutt him away. Straight back into it though, Angus. Didn't use his dash on the first attempt. And doesn't actually go for the dive there. I think he could have taken it. He's got the call from the fact that Nivea is coming up there. Now we've got a ping going down on Necro. Going up there towards Extinct. He backs out of that one. And quite happily surviving it. Johnny in the meantime, in that bush, puts a couple of layways, takes down that lane. So, FlytoHIGH, gathering in the middle there. Angus now suddenly finds himself in a 5-on-1 situation. Dives on towards Necro. He's not going to get out of this one. Angus surely, no, he will just about get taken down there in a 5-on-1 dive. But nice bit of play by FlytoHIGH to manage to cut him out. That's what they need to do. They need to do more of that. And now Extinct actually going balls deep here. Diving in. Puts the shatter across the entire team. The ice ball coming out from Nivea there. Who is Slepper aiming on? Slepper ultis on towards Kenneth to knock him out. There's a good stall on towards Slepper. Extinct not coming out too well in this one either. And that's going to be Carthus just about hanging on. Carthus does go down eventually. Dirtjan taking down very low. The ulti from Carthus is going to come out. And that will be surely the end of that. Karlik, the last man standing. And he's just about hanging on there. Has still got rebirth available. Could have gone a little bit deeper there, but I don't think it has survived the egg form against Slepper. And again, Curse coming out just on top of that one, but it was a very close exchange by FlytoHIGH. But it was a 4-4-2 exchange nevertheless. So Slepper going to rip down this turret, just pulling up tree trunks, and he will take it down. And Slepper takes the final inner turret down. So, just the final outer turret, sorry, I should say, down. 23 minutes gone into this game, and you can see the goal difference now, 10k. Well, even closing in on 11k, in fact. Slepper returns to that bottom lane. He's going to farm up quite happily. Must be sat on a fairly sizable chunk of gold. Yes, he is. 2,100 gold. And he's just going to leap in. Boom. Pick up a load of gold with that rocket jump. He's leveled up 5 in the rocket jump by now, 5 in rapid fire, and he's leaving explosive shot till last. And of course the ulti. Meanwhile in the middle there, Wall of Pain, keeping them at bay on this turret. You cannot dive a turret against a Carthus. You may be able to pop him pretty quickly, but he will strip your minions down very quickly. Flash, headbutt, pulverize in towards the Howling Gale. Works out quite badly, but he does pick up the kill there. Instead, Dirtjan will go down though, so it's a straight 1-for-1 exchange on that turret dive. A little bit of desperation possibly coming out there. Karlik having to flash away from that dazzle that could have come out from Zinnek. Instead, he shatters up the minions. And Angus will pick up all the farm once again. Let's look back towards his top lane. And you can see at the moment, when you see it, farming up quite happily. I'm pushing. I missed that one, but it was a dive in the middle. I don't think it's really that inevitable that I missed it. You can see Karlik is going to go down. Double kill picked up. Oh, Slepper's just continuing to dive there. Has been back. Bought himself that Phantom Dancer. Curse are now in absolute farm mode. Looking like they will go through to the semi-finals, or round 2 I guess is technically the phase. Zinek's like, guys, I'm just going to tank it. Actually, do you mind shooting it? I am tanking it. No, don't want to shoot it. There we go. They're going to continue on hitting that mid turret, something that Moscow 5 could learn a great deal from. Necro's been dived on here. Angus with the Valkyrie across there. Angus manages to take him down. Now Dirtjan comes in, doesn't have his ulti available as he does, but it is not going to stop a very, very fed Tristana. Tristana 827 now stripping down them turrets. 823 for Angus on that top lane. Has got that Randian's Omen to go with a Trinity Force, so he's got tons of damage and tons of armor to go with it. It is a very, very harsh victory here. And there is the surrender vote coming out from FlytoHIGH. So Curse progressed through in this best of 1 first round match. So coming up next, you know what it's going to be. It's going to be CLG Moscow 5. And what a game that could be. Let's just see if the brackets have played themselves out. But nevertheless, let's have a look at the final scores. You can see that Curse were pretty dominant in that game. It's no shock really. I think we kind of expected it. It's always harsh on these EU Nordic East teams when they get drawn as the, you know, in the first seed, and the first one you get is one of the big teams, and you're just like, oh god, why do we get that? And I know you guys that do all the go for lols that get the same thing, and you get drawn against those top seeds, and you're just like, Well, that's great. We wanted a nice couple of games, nice 5v5s organised for us, but instead we've got one of these top seeds straight out the bat. So 827 for Slepa. Maluna 116 had picked up that Oracles fairly early on and just effectively stole away all the jungle from Dirtjan. Dirtjan unfortunately was unable to make any of those ganks count that you can get with Alistair, and it can be fantastic when you make them, but when they don't work and it backfires against you and the enemy is stealing away all your jungle, it can definitely slow you down. 823 for Angus, Extinct on 324, didn't really get involved for Akarthus much in this one. Zinnek 3111 and picked up a couple of those kills there. That great one on towards Dirtjan, actually round the tower. 055 for Johnny, unfortunately didn't really get himself involved. Did get the Shredder's Reverie completed, but couldn't do a great deal else. Karlik as well didn't manage to leave that middle lane, had to just farm it up against Extinct. They effectively, the mid lane was locked in a farming session. Dirtjan, well, we saw him roll around the map. Unfortunately, did not get in there a great deal. Necromatics 551 did pick up a couple of kills, got that Trinity Force complete, but unfortunately he was up against it. And well, when you see it, had a horrendous time against Anguish in that top lane on Aurelia. So Anguish proving his worth back in the Curse lineup after replacing Youngbuck, who is now in SK. So we will have the next game coming up in a few moments, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll take a short break and I'll just try and see what's happening. I'll keep the screen up here. You'll see what's happening. So don't go anywhere. I'll be back in just a mo.